Hey folks, Marty Nowicki. Happy New Year to everybody. This is blog number 2, and today I'd like to talk to you about the progression of learning. If we started thinking about other sports that we've learned or want to learn, let's take basketball for instance. People would need to learn how to hold the ball, how to dribble the ball, how to dribble and walk at the same time, well before they'd start shooting three-pointers. If we were talking about skiing, you would want to learn how to properly put your boot on, how to walk in your boot, then how to attach the ski to your boot, how to walk in your ski well before you hit the double black diamond trail, risking your life. Well, golf is no different. Frequently, people show up to a golf lesson and they want to, I need to hit my driver better, or, I'm struggling with my full swing. And what we found is the fastest way for a golfer to lower their score is to get brilliant at the most basic things. That would involve a putting stroke, and it would involve your basic chipping and pitching stroke. And that's the fastest way anybody can lower their scores. So today I just want to briefly talk to you about the progression that a student should go through in order to learn the game properly. And that would involve starting close to the hole, maybe with a putter, and making some short putting motions. But once we start doing something more than putting, chipping for instance, we want to make sure that your basic geometry is taken care of. So if I were to pull a ball over, we talked last week about our basic geometry, this lowercase letter Y. If you connect my arm to the club with my trailing arm, you'll see a lowercase letter Y when we're hitting it. Another way of saying that would be that the leading lever, your leading arm, would stay out ahead of the golf club. All right, that'd be basic information. For those of you that struggle chipping or pitching, it's a change in your left wrist angle or in the length of your arm that tends to be the root cause of the problem. So we need to be brilliant at this basic function. Remember, when we're holding the club for chipping, pitching, we could start with your hands pressed forward. Also, I'd like for your hands to be up a tiny bit higher for chipping and pitching. That way we've got all of our angles already intact. Basic, for what's moving what, your right arm will literally pull back this lever, the left arm, and push it forward. Pull, push, pull, push. And if the left wrist itself really isn't doing much of anything, it's just kind of hanging around. Think of the mud flap on a car. It'll only bend one way if done properly, okay? We never want to see the wrist itself bend the wrong direction. If think about how much energy it takes for me to take my knuckles and actually raise them up. It takes a lot of energy, and for those of you that suffer with any form of pain or tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, that's something that, we can alleviate just by virtue of pressures in the proper place. So once we have our grip assembled, I just say hands forward, raise the hands up a little bit higher from this view. That way they're not tucked too far down. They're actually up a little bit higher. The club itself could point to the belt line or maybe just slightly above that for chipping. And the right arm is pulling the left, all right? Now, the hard part about golf and golf instruction is that, this is a learned motor skill. You have to train yourself, train your body to do it. And all day long, we watch people try and chip balls incorrectly, and sometimes on these mats, they're a little forgiving. Once we get outside, there is no forgiveness. So, be cognizant of maintaining these angles. Once you chip a ball, look down and look at yourself. What does that actually look like? Is it broken to pieces? is the length of my left arm from my shoulder to my wrist, is that changed at all? Or is it still at full length? All right? And that would be the first basic measurement. That'd be the equivalent of us learning how to dribble and how to walk in basketball. All right? Then we'll start up on layups. Layups just involve a little more motion, so that would mean for us a little more backswing. Okay? And that would be the best way for someone to learn the game, best way for someone to get better at the game. So for those of you that have been playing for 10 years or 20 years or longer, you know what, always go back to the basics. So this would be, you know, how to develop the basics. It's the middle of winter out here. It's the first week of January and second week of January. And, you know, we've got plenty of snow on the ground, so this is the time to do it. This is the time to start getting ready. Golf started on TV already, had our first champion, Dustin Johnson, already. So this is the time, if you want to make a change. You know, we're not too far removed from New Year's to add another resolution. Resolution. So that being said, start with the very basic stuff. To expand a little bit on what we talked about last week, you know, as I make this bigger, well, I can always add levers. I can add left wrist cock. I can add right arm bend. All right, and that's how we would then go from dribbling and walking to doing a layup to shooting a free throw to you know, shooting a three-pointer, which would involve, you know, much more of a full swing. All right, but training the arms how to function is priority number one. That's a very, very big deal. So again, just to review, left arm is going to be kind of limp. The leading wrist will be limp. The arm itself, I want you to treat that like it's a 2x4 with a little mud flap attached. Once the club attaches to that, the right trailing hand, in our case the right hand, secures into the thumb, and when we go through, we want to have a visible checkpoint for you so that when you're done, you know, hey, okay, this is what it's supposed to look like when I'm done with a chip shot. All right, we don't need all this changing, you know, changing angles, because that changes where the player would strike the ground. So this is week number 2 blog. I'm going to do a shameless plug for TaylorMade and Adidas. I'm on staff with them. They're a great company. They've got some really neat products coming out in the near future. We have a demo day coming up in February on a Saturday. I believe it's the 12th or whatever Saturday is closest to that date. TaylorMade will be here from 10 to 1. And we look forward to seeing you out here at the Golf Dome. So I'm Marty Nowicki from the PGA teaching professional here at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona. It's the middle of winter. This is the perfect time to start getting ready for our April and May golf. So I'm signing off. Have a wonderful day, and we'll post something again next week.